Can you check to see what's up? Huh? Do it on YouTube or Facebook? YouTube. Although it says stream now, so maybe change the title. Oh, it's streaming now. No, the title of the video is. Oh, I titled it. Okay, I'll change it. Okay. And also make it compatible. So you can do that right away, right? Then you can do a Facebook post and a Longmont Observer page. It's all
That's awesome. Picture of the proclamation when they're going to keep us in. Sure. I appreciate it.
So when they're going to do a proclamation, we should put that in Lulu. I have the article ready. I just need a picture and a picture. We got you covered.
Make it of Scott.
Okay. We got you covered.
Thank you guys.
Yeah. How's it going? Good. Are you tired of having the back of your head in this thing?
A little bit.
Sandy didn't like it either.
Actually, I still haven't seen the actual screenshot except for what you showed me there. But I heard it's definitely heavy on the backs of our head.
But it's the only way to really get zoomed in on these guys. So. I could put it like right there between them.
Yeah, you actually could. Doesn't bother me.
Then I can't get these guys when they're talking. This is the only place we tried everywhere. We came in here one day and we tried everywhere. This is it. Sorry.
Good with me.
I agree. Yeah.
3rd, 2017, Longmont City Council to order. This is a break study session. Could we please start with a roll call?
Mayor Coons?
Here.
Councilmember Bagley?
Here.
Christensen? Here. Finley? Here. Moore?
Here.
Peck? Here. Santos?
Here.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Okay, let's stand for pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilmember Moore.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mayor Coons. I received a letter from Randy Aarons, the mayor of Broomfield, or an email, and he was requesting that we consider having a unified front along the front range for oil and gas regulations, and they're meeting with COGCC next week, a public meeting, and we'd like to see if we're wanting to support that effort. So I'd like to bring that back for council consideration next week as an agenda item. Okay. Does everybody agree?
See what it says.
Yeah. All right. I guess we'll move on to public invited to be heard. And first person on the list is Joe Cove. So please come down and state your, excuse me, John Cove.
Yes.
Sorry. State your name and address for the record.
I get that more often than you'd believe, Mayor. John Coe, 1899 Third Avenue. Yes, and I actually had an Aunt Joe that I used to work with at Evans and Sutherland in Salt Lake City, so that was an issue then, but it hasn't been since. Thank you for public invited to be heard, and I wanted to briefly talk about the conference I went to 2 weeks ago in Denver, GIS, or Geographical Information in the Rockies. I talked to you briefly about it before. And basically, I brought you an aeronautical chart. Sandy, anyway, let me tell you about another, before I talk about the aeronautical chart, I want to tell you about another, basically, the Denver area, the drainage basin, the Platte River Basin has been mapped in 3 dimensions, and they were looking for other basins in this area to be mapped to this 3-dimensional. Right now, river basins are mapped to what they call 1-dimensional, meaning right down the river channel. But they've actually taken the Platte River Basin and mapped it to what they call 3 dimensions. So when the floods spread out, they can more precisely know that. And I was in a meeting, and one of many meetings. I have a hard time telling you, and that's why I waited a week to come, because there were so many opportunities at the Geographical Information Conference, and there is every year. So they're actually looking for somebody to map the space. That's not why I'm here today. I actually have met some people at USGS who may be able to help us with our airport noise problem. And I actually have a pilot's license myself, but I wanted to briefly talk about this aeronautical chart. And Sandy has a chart here. So, and you can actually unfold it. But this is basically the terminal air chart for this area. And Longmont is here, Boulder is here, and this is basically represents an upside down wedding cake, as they call it, for approach into Denver. And I-25 is a major part, a corridor for this area. But on this chart is basically designations for the different airports in this area. We are LMO, being Longmont Airport. And we have, of course, the designation for skydiving, and Boulder has a designation for tow planes, which are incompatible operations for airports. I'm not sure I'm on time, but I'm trying to be concise here. Basically, this chart is put out every 6 months, and this is how the federal government relays information to pilots on what to do and what they can do, and what really regulates why our airport is used so much for skydiving. Partially because the amount of space on the other side of I-25 is limited. But my thought is, and actually talking to a contact I have with the USGS who runs the gravitational antennas out on the side of the mountain, and they actually use Longmont as their address, very interestingly. But I'll call her Pam. I don't want to give her last name because her job is to dispense information for the USGS. But anyway, back to the chart, and I see I'm on time here. These charts are put out every 6 months, and if we could start to spread the parachute operations further east, and then start to get either per day for the tow plane, we might be able to fire our skies at least on a part-time basis. Thank you.
Thank you. Marion, Stump?
Good evening. My name is Marion Stump, and I live on Humboldt Circle in Longmont, Colorado. I am an advanced practice nurse. I have lived here since 1984, and I'm here to address your issues around oil and gas regulations. I am very well aware of the Physicians for Social Responsibility, which is an organization nationally which has come out with a statement saying the release into the atmosphere of methane, volatile, organic carcinogens, and air toxins from oil gas operation poses multiple damages to human health. This was a statement made in Washington, D.C. in July 10th of 2017. We have now peer-reviewed scientific studies from highly reputable scientists that document statistical association between living close to gas and oil fracking sites. This is no longer an imaginary thing. There is definitely regulations that need to be addressed as far as fracking is concerned. I would like to just read to you what they state. This organization is done with highly reputable people. Fracking for natural gas extraction creates potentially harmful health effects during the hydraulic fractioning technique itself, and from associated processes including road building, pad clearing, truck trips, drilling, cementing, flowback waters, off-gassing, compressors, and pipelines. Among the most severe sources of concern are toxic drilling fluids and fracturing liquids, air emissions including volatile organic compounds, diesel pollution and noise pollution, stress factors, and methane leaks. This is not something we can ignore as the city of Longmont in Boulder County. I moved to this community in 1984. We raised our children here, and as I said in the beginning, I love this community for its clean air, its open space, and among other things, I plan to take my last breath here. May it be clean. Please choose your people over profit. Thank you.
Michelle Goldstein?
Hello, my name is Sal Goldstein. I live at 649 Wade Road. My house backs up to Golden Pines and the BNSF Railroad spur that goes from Longmont to Lyons. And recently the railroad installed creosote railroad ties. I'm sure I see people nodding because you can smell it all over Longmont. And creosote is a carcinogen. It pollutes the groundwater and the air. And how does the BNSF Railroad get to put a carcinogen through the town of Longmont? I'm upset about it. And I've talked to Jonathan Singer, our state representative, and he was to talk to a representative from BNSF, and I haven't heard a thing back. I have my physician jogs at Golden Ponds, and she can no longer jog there because of the fumes emitted from the creosote railroad ties. We should not allow the railroad to do that, especially there's an alternative. There's CCA, the green wood that you see in landscape timbers. They could have put that down instead of the creosote railroad ties. So that's why I'm up here.
Thank you. Steve Foley?
Actually, it's Steve Hawley, and thank you anyway. I kind of like to hear that once in a while. I have a question I'd like to pose to the council members, the mayor, and any representatives from the gas and oil company. If fracking, the reason I'm here is to talk about fracking. If fracking were as safe as we're told that it is, my question is, why does the industry, the multinational industry, have to have an exemption to the Clean Air and Water Act, more commonly referred to as the Halliburton exemption?
Yeah.
It's hard to believe you would have an industry that would have to have an exemption if it's really that safe. Given our dwindling water resources, it's hard to imagine that every well we lose 2 million gallons of water right into the ground on the first fracking operation. These wells can be refracked up to 15 times or possibly more, and you can imagine the amount of water that's going into the ground, never to be reused again. Where I live, which is out on County Line Road, we feel the effects of fracking every day in terms of the odors, the noise of the trucks going by, and so it's not a industry that doesn't do harm to the people that are in the area. The multinational corporations that are doing this extraction have only one goal in mind, and that is profit and shareholder, increasing shareholder value. I would really hope that you as our representatives could do something about that, really protect the people that have put you in office. And on the same line again, putting those of us that have actually put you in office ahead of these multinational corporations that are in it just for profit. And it would be nice if there's anything at all you could do to stop fracking totally in our area. Thank you very much.
Well, the reason why we don't allow extra clapping or cheering or cheering is because then people that have an opposite view will feel intimidated. So I would appreciate it if people would not clap one way or another. And Leland?
Hello, Pam Leland, 620 Grandview Meadow Drive. We, the citizens of Longmont and Boulder County, expect the City Council to protect our health and our safety and put these first and foremost in your considerations for this community. Fracking and all oil and gas extraction threaten both the local health and safety, be a heavy industry in areas not designed for heavy traffic, and too near public and residential areas, exposing our citizens to toxic pollution that impacts the air that we breathe and the land and the natural open spaces that we value, and the water table and the waterways that are critical for drinking and irrigation. We want you to join with other cities and the county to just say no to COGCC and the state and oil and gas. Let them sue us. You have been offered free legal counsel through CELDAP, resources that would help you to stand up and for our community rights. Our health and safety comes before corporate profits. I don't care if we leave money on the table that's unacceptable, if that money is blood money and it hurts our community. Thank you.
Judith Blackburn.
Mayor Coombs and council members, Judith Blackburn, 3724 Oakwood Drive. It seems that just as council elections are ramping up, our fair city is facing some renewed challenges from the oil and gas industry yet again. Many of us here tonight are concerned about news of potential fracking on the eastern and southern sides of Longmont. We're especially concerned about potential drilling under Union Reservoir, a threat that brought us out in full force back in 2012 when we were successful in our citizen initiative to ban fracking within city limits. Water over the dam, so to speak, at this point, except that that threat is back again. This issue, and speaking of water over the dam, the related one of voting on a rate increase to fund more acre-feet of water storage space in the Windy Gap firming project than city staff actually recommended, will be front and center in the upcoming council elections. I know that those two issues are not supposed to be related, but wasting water, our most precious resource, connects them. I encourage everyone here tonight or watching the proceedings on TV to attend the upcoming candidate forums and support those candidates who sound the strongest on opposing fracking and limiting the amount of water we store from the western slope while keeping our own backup water supply safe in Union Reservoir. We await the city staff reports, but I want also to say that those of us who organized and attended the May 6th symposium called Get the Frack Facts at Front Range Community College much appreciated city staff's presence there to tell us how the city intends to protect our community against the health and environmental dangers posed by oil and gas incursions into our neighborhoods and waterways. The proof will be in the pudding as the pending permits are processed and we hope rejected. Council, I encourage council to collaborate with Boulder County, as an earlier speaker, or as Jeff Moore suggested, to resist fracking. It takes courage and creativity to stand up to corporate greed and legislative overreach in the matter of state preemption. But let's have at it. Your constituents are watching with bated breath.
Karen Dyke.
Karen Dyke, 708 Hayden Court, council members. When I was here a few weeks ago, I said I no longer knew what to say to this council, and I ended up reading comments from Erie residents on the horrors of fracking that they're experiencing in their community. Tonight I will give you some ideas that you could use to stop this dirty industry from coming into our midst. First, the COGCC is in the middle of a lawsuit by Earth Guardians for failing to carry out the mandate to protect the health of citizens and to provide for safety. The Court of Appeals ruled in favor of the kids, and COGCC is now challenging this in the district court. Just say no to drilling until this is decided. Impose at least a 1,000-foot setback to water. There have been 465 spills up to the end of September. Weld County had 19 spills in the 2-week period reported October 2nd. 6 of those contaminated groundwater. Set a huge fund for the right to drill at the reservoir that would cover the cost of potential contamination. Maybe $20 million or so would cover the cost to reclaim the lake. Don't allow them to put in pipelines. Yes, it means more traffic. It also means we would have to worry about pipeline leaks, and we aren't contributing to their profit margin by allowing this. Set high fines for air pollution with a plan to monitor continuously and to shut down operations if any air toxins are noted. Enact a community bill of rights similar to the one in Lafayette. Quickly annex the property south of the rec center and don't let the wells come in there. 2 schools are proposed there. Fight so that the wells don't come. Fight the COGCC if they want the wells drilled anyway. Work with Lafayette, and thank you, Jeff, for basically bringing this forward that we would work with other communities here to draw a line around our perimeter and around Boulder County. Just say no should be your mantra. Voting to allow drilling next to the reservoir is like playing Russian roulette. Which baby will have their defects or be born prematurely? Who will have a child develop asthma? Which child will suffer with leukemia? Will an adult develop respiratory issues? If we have a blowout like the one in Texas that resulted in a 3-mile evacuation zone, what will happen to those children at Trail Ridge Middle School? The public hasn't seen yet what will be proposed later tonight. When I see that it includes a discussion of pipelines, I know that fracking at Union Reservoir is almost a done deal. So I will close with these words. A vote for any drilling at Union Reservoir is a pro-fracking vote. You will be on record prior to the coming election of how you vote. Vote wisely. Thank you.
Alderman Pearson.
Good evening. I'm Coleman Pearson. I live at the Suites, 2000 Sunset Way. I'm scared to death. I've been living there for about 3 years, and there's a culture of bullying, intimidation. It's been fostered by management, I feel. I wouldn't want to give any examples to that. I don't feel real comfortable. I'd like for y'all to get to know me and offer you a chance. I've offered some friends in other arenas in this town to get to know me. As a beautiful town. I've bicycled all my life. I've lived all over the world. What's going on in this country today? People are dying because of our ideology. I don't wish anybody any harm. I've lived outside this country and been adopted by these folks from other places. I've been adopted by people here in Longmont. And it's very unusual. I didn't expect to meet the people I've met here. Councilwoman embraced me the other night. I met the chief of police last night at a very unusual forum, I feel. At least for me, being from Alabama. I'd like to be an asset to this community. We have no representation over there. Absolutely none. Me standing up, I take my life in my own hands.